What's up guys? A bit different. I haven't done one of these for so long, but I'm just going to do a sit down talk. So this is just a bit of a topic on training and what you should mentally be aware of when you are training, to help bring up maybe muscle groups that you struggle to build a connection with, muscle groups that are falling, that aren't developing as well as you want, muscle groups that you want to bring up, all of that sort of thing. So just going to touch on 4 main focuses that you need to become aware of, and you will slowly become aware of as you lift more. And also I would have liked to have just gotten my head around of all of this so much earlier. So if I can share it with you guys and you can get your head around it a little bit earlier, then so good. So the first one I wanted to talk about was mind-muscle connection. So everyone sort of talks about this in their Instagram posts, in their YouTube videos and stuff like that, but it's more so explaining what mind-muscle connection is performing a movement in which is supposed to be targeting a certain muscle group or groups, and being aware of the fact that you are using the right muscles to perform that movement. For example, if I was doing hip thrusts on the Smith machine, my first probably 12 months of lifting, I would do hip thrusts on the Smith machine and I would kind of feel it in my quads, I'd feel it was kind of hurting my hips a bit, I'd feel it in my back, all sorts of strange things that, I don't know, I just did it, thought I was working my booty, but wasn't performing it properly, whether that was being conscious of what weight I was lifting or whether that was being conscious of my mind trying to switch my glutes on. So mind-muscle connection is making sure, okay, I'm performing this movement that is supposed to be working my, say I'm doing the Smith machine hip thrust, that's supposed to be working my glutes. Okay, let's mentally really connect to my glutes. So let's squeeze them at the top, let's really tighten them on the lower, let's try and keep them on the whole movement. Now if that's too hard, maybe you need to reassess the weight. If it's too easy and you have to get to like 30 reps before you can feel anything, then maybe you need to up the reps, up the weight. So mind-muscle connection is super important. I did not grasp that in my glutes for a very long time, and I ended up being super quad dominant and feeling lots of niggles in my knees and things like that, just because I wasn't performing exercises properly. So make sure when you're performing an exercise, you've got your mind turned on and you're making a conscious effort to squeeze that certain muscle group. The second one I wanted to touch on is performing a full range of motion. So if I'm performing a bicep curl, I really want to come right down, feel the stretch in my bicep and come back up. I don't want to be just performing little pumps. If I really want to bring a muscle group up or it's lacking or anything like that, preventing injury even, we need to perform a full range of motion. Now there are certain exercises where you can sort of do half reps and half pumps and all that sort of thing sometimes as well to switch things up, but most of the time we really want to focus on a full range of motion. Third one, which I touched on slightly in the first, is just being consciously aware of the weight range you're lifting. So if you've been performing maybe 2 plates on the leg press and you've been doing that for a few weeks now, you probably need to up the weights. So being consciously aware of moving up in weights so your body doesn't become just used to lifting the same amount every single time you do that exercise. And for example, the leg press, maybe you've stacked on like 6 plates on either side, then you need to still make sure you've got that full range of motion, otherwise you need to reassess and drop down the weight, all of that sort of thing. So just being consciously aware of the weight is an appropriate weight for you to lift properly, but for it to still be challenging, and for you to also still feel the mind-muscle connection. You don't want to be sort of performing the leg press and all of a sudden getting like cramp in your calf muscle or something like that. So just all of these combining together, once you get used to thinking of all of these things, it becomes super natural, and you don't have to like think of them all individually. You just know like this exercise isn't right, or I need to jump up in weight, or anything like that. It sort of all just becomes really natural. But when you are lifting for the first 12 months or something like that, these are probably cues you need to think of individually. And lastly would be how you perform the rep. I am talking about speed in performing this rep. So again, bicep curls nice and easy. You don't want to be doing this. You kind of want to be slowing the eccentric, getting a really nice stretch, feeling the connection, and then a consistent and smooth motion back up. So that would probably be what I would recommend for every single exercise. It's like a slow eccentric, nice and controlled, and then a push for the leg press. If you are new to lifting, you want to learn to control your breathing, control the movement. So yeah, you don't want to be doing this. Hip thrust, you don't want to be just going like this. You want to be like, you know, you want to be just, yeah, you want to lift controlled. They are my 4 main important aspects of wanting to build muscle, bring up a certain muscle group, or just the 4 main focuses when it comes to lifting weights. Those are the 4 things that I'm very naturally aware of now. And if you're new to lifting, then these are things that have to be self-taught if you don't have anyone there to help you while you're lifting, all those sorts of things. But it's just being able to reassess each exercise for yourself and make sure you're performing the movement properly and feeling it in the right spot. So that is my vid for you guys today. I hope that you really liked it. I hope you can take something from it. Bit of a sit down one, so a bit different, but yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next vid.